But it's fine. It's not fun, but it's fine. That's what I'm doing. He was a surprise, but it's not fun. I hope it's fun.
Can you still see it, you guys?
No, I can't see it.
Michaela?
Yep, we can.
Okay, here we go. This is our question, the second one right here. What do we do? Go ahead, Chloe.
You do 13 minus 5 because...
Put your microphone on.
Right there.
You have to do C minus A equals B.
You have to go a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and then you have to minus 1. So you get b squared equals c squared minus a squared. Okay, so now what?
So then you figure out what C squared is, which is 13 squared.
13 squared minus
A squared is 5 squared.
5 squared is equal to b squared.
And then 13 squared is
169 minus 25.
And then you
5.
do that. And
B squared
44
equals 144.
or 12.
So b equals 12. That's our answer. This is 12. Okay.
I got it right.
Good. Good.
Oh, I didn't write.
This is important on what we're doing today. It helps us tell some things, and I just needed you to remember how to find sides if you didn't have it. So, I have this paper. It's called Trig Ratios. Did you guys get it, Park Valley?
Yeah, we got it.
Do we need to turn on Friday's bell quiz? Or
Will everybody turn in their Friday bell quiz?
Wait, we had one. Oh, I don't know where that is. Oh, here it is. Oh,
Now we get bad grades on it.
what do I write for Friday? Test?
Test.
are we only getting one paper a day?
No, you're getting 2.
Duh. Make sure I It says I didn't turn in 5-2.
I need to turn in my 5 homework because I didn't do that.
It says that my 5-2 is a C, but I know I can't.
Really? Dang, I'm proud.
That's what it says.
Me too.
Mrs. Hawks.
Where?
Also, in ag science, I didn't do any of the replies quarantine, and Brown already hates it. Well, you know, in class yesterday, he was like,
Mrs. Hawks.
I've gotten sick. And I'm like,
Yeah, I heard that. I remember that.
I hate him. Oh. I hate him so much. Can I do opposite with him? I'm in the opposite retreat. We're staying up late eating things. I'm like, we're fine. Come in, he tells us to go to sleep. And I'm like,
3,
go in your room.
5. Okay, so this is our, I didn't print a packet because like I said, we're going to skip half of it, and I decided it was easier for me to just print out what I needed when I needed it. So this is today's. It's called 6.3. So you can see we skipped Pythagorean theorem with 6.1. Number 2 was called special triangles. We're not worrying about special triangles. We're going to go right into SOHCAHTOA. Okay?
Huh?
So just pay attention. I'll tell you what it is. All right. We're ready. Everybody ready? Everybody has their masks on appropriately. Thank you.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about trig ratios.
You didn't do it.
Okay?
I know. I don't care.
In the last lesson, not the last lesson, but
I don't have to submit.
if you had done the last lesson, you would have learned about 2 specific kinds of right triangles, a 30-60-90
Oh,
and a 45-45-90. These are specific triangles that we would have learned about. We're not going to. These triangles gave exact ratios between angles and the sides. In this lesson, we're going to learn about ratios for every other right triangle. It works for the 30-60-90s also. Okay? So if I take any triangle, I know that this is a right angle, and I label one of the angles, and we're going to call this one C. From this C, we know that across, see this right angle, it points over here to the hypotenuse every time. Okay? I have two other sides. Here's my C, the angle I'm looking at. If I go across from that angle, it's always the opposite. And the adjacent is next to, because adjacent stands for next to. Now I could draw my triangle a little different. And I could put my angle up here. Then this side would be the hypotenuse, which I'm going to abbreviate HYP. The opposite would be where? Go to my angle. Go across. The opposite is down here now.
Oh.
This one becomes the adjacent because it's next to the angle. Okay? See the difference? Depends on where the angle is. Going across from the angle is the opposite side. Next to the angle is the adjacent side. The right angle is always across from the hypotenuse. Always. Okay? So, here's our example. Right here. Example 1. Here's angle R. Right here. Label the three sides. Go. Opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse. That's what you need to label.
Wait, where did we get R?
Where are we?
No. I know where we're at.
I am confused.
Oh, this is,
The R is just labeling what the thing is. It doesn't really matter.
where do you go from the R?
And you have to find your angle.
It's right here.
When you're done with that one,
Right
do
there.
the one next to
Right
it.
there.
No.
Right there.
No.
By the R.
Yeah, it's by the R.
How?
I don't know, but it is.
It's always by the R.
Well, no, it's the, I don't know what it is. Never mind. I don't know how to explain it. I wasn't listening.
I like this song.
Okay, so when you watch your videos, if you haven't already, you're going to put adjacent. Yes.
This is hot. Where's the angle?
The R, where it says C right
The
here.
edge always. That's always right.
It's always going to be labeled, but this one's an R.
Okay.
Okay, did we get an answer?
Yeah.
What side is this?
Hypotenuse.
The hypotenuse. How did you know? Because it's across from the angle. What side's this?
Adjacent.
Adjacent. How did you know?
Next angle.
Next to the angle. What side's this?
Opposite.
Did you do this one? Here's R. Okay, do this one. Go.
Hypotenuse.
Which one's the hypotenuse?
Bottom.
The bottom one. Okay. Keep going.
Adjacent.
Opposite is on the right. That means this is the adjacent, right? That's the hardest part about our assignment today.
Really?
I'm not kidding. So the hardest part is figuring out which one is which. And I really don't think it's hard if you know that thing, the opposite from the the opposite of the right angle is always the hypotenuse. Across from the angle is opposite, next to the angle is adjacent. Okay. So I'm going to introduce some trig vocabulary right now. Okay? Here's trig vocabulary. There's 3 new terms we're going to learn. The sine, the cosine, and the next page will give you the tangent. Okay, so sine is a math operator like addition or multiplication. It's a trig function that refers to a ratio of an angle. The sine is always the opposite side over the hypotenuse. So I call it SOH. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Got it? The cosine is the adjacent over the hypotenuse. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. And last but not least, turn the page. I'll get there. The tangent is the opposite over the adjacent. So some people write it like this. I write it like this. And I learned this word, SOHCAHTOA. It stands for trig ratios. The sine is the opposite over the hypotenuse. The cosine is the adjacent over the hypotenuse. And the tangent is the opposite over the adjacent. Every time.
Huh?
Okay? So you just have to remember that word and remember what side is what. So here goes. Here's my words right here. Tangent of A. It wants to know what is the ratio. So I go, where's A? Right here. What do I need to know for tangent? The opposite and the adjacent, right? So over here I start labeling. This side is what? The hypotenuse. What's this side?
Adjacent.
The adjacent. What's this side?
Opposite.
So now all I have to do is I have to say tangent is opposite over adjacent. And reduce if I can. 14 over 10 reduces to 7 over 5. That is my fraction. And then it says round to the nearest thousandth. What does that mean?
I don't know.
That means take it in your calculator, type 7 divided by 5, and go 1.400. And there's my other answer. Okay, so here we go. Cosine. So, first thing I need to do is find my angle. Here it is, C. Label my sides. Where's the hypotenuse? It's the 13. What is 8? It's the adjacent. So this side is the opposite. It says cosine. Cosine is AH. Cosine is the adjacent, 8, over the hypotenuse, 13. Doesn't reduce, so there's my answer as a fraction. Then it says write it as a decimal, 3 decimal places. So here goes, 8 divided by 13. My answer is 0.615, and I'm good. Okay, try this one. Everybody try this one. There's Z right there. Label your sides. You get a 1/3 chance of getting it right? How do you figure? Oh, is he trying to do the sides still? Okay. You don't know where the hypotenuse is?
No idea.
Which one's the hypotenuse? Which one's the hypotenuse? 18. So what do you got left? And adjacent means what? Next to. So which one's next to? The 13 or the blank?
13 over 8.
Yeah, because there's the angle. It's next to the angle. So that's the adjacent. So what does that make that one? Weston? Okay, sine uses what?
What did you get, Chloe? 13 over 18.
Sine uses what? Opposite and hypotenuse. So here we go. Opposite is sine. Remember it says up here, SOHCAHTOA. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Well, see, it was the angle. The sine of Z is the opposite. What's the opposite? 13 over the hypotenuse. Does that reduce? No. So then I go like this. 13 divided by 18 equals 0.722. And I have my answer. Ready to try the last one? Here it is. Go. This one's a little harder. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
It is. Just a little bit. Because what would they give me? Where's the hypotenuse? 51. What? Here's my angle. What's the opposite side? This is the blank side. What's this one then? And what does it want me to use? Sine. Sine says opposite over hypotenuse, right? But I don't have one. But I can figure it out. How do I figure it out?
You do 51.
I use Pythagorean theorem, which says x squared plus 39 squared equals 51 squared. So I go 51 squared is 2601. 39 squared equals 1521 plus x squared. Now what? I move that over. So I get x squared equals 2601 minus 1521. I got 1080. Now what? Square root it. And I got 32.86. Okay. So what's the sign?
32.86.
32.863 over 51. There it is. Now I need the approximation. How do I do that? Divide it by 51. I get 0.644, and there's my answer. So sometimes you do have to use Pythagorean theorem. Okay? And guess what? That's the end of our notes. Now you can look at your assignment and get started. And look at your assignment. It's pretty easy. You're going through here. This one says you got to find Pythagorean theorem, then do the ratio, and then 2 review questions. 18 problems. Cruising right through it. Okay? We good?
What is the playlist name?